All right, we gotta do some cropping really quick, so pardon me. All right, so that was a little bit of spastic meat splatters. We are here with iNi. How do you want to pronounce that and say it?
I just
I
call
just
it
called it
ini. You know,
ini.
like
Any?
those
Those
files in
files in
Windows?
Windows.
Yeah, those
Yeah,
ini
those ini
files.
files.
That's actually
That's
where it
actually
comes
where it
from.
comes from.
I just thought you reversed the
Nah,
Nah,
well,
nine.
yeah, that
yeah,
was that was a
that was
play
a
on
play
that
on
as
that as
well.
well.
But actually,
But
my
actually,
Naturally.
my
wife came
wife
up with
came
that
up with
logo
that
when she
logo
was
when she
playing
was
on
playing on
Excel,
Excel,
and she
and
just
she just
like
like
blanked the
blanked the
tab,
tab,
and it
and
came
it
up
came
like
up like
that,
that,
and it just
and it just
worked.
worked.
So,
So,
and I
and I
figured,
figured,
uh,
uh,
any
ini
file back in
file
the
back in
days,
the
you
day.
used to be able to enter all sort of commands on there, and you could just like hack your game or just like hack the variable in the Quake engine and stuff like that. And I figure, you know what, that's pretty great because I can do multiple type of music. So I'm a sort of command center myself. And plus, I really like Nine Inch Nails. You guys should know by now because this is actually it sounds a lot like Nine Inch Nails sometimes. So
So
yeah,
yeah, that's
all where it
all
comes.
where it come from.
Dude, it definitely sounds like Nine Inch Nails at times. So I guess let me intro that with asking prior to diving into the actual uh, thought process and composition aspect of working with on this Incision project. Uh, what would you say your main influences are? Maybe your top three favorite albums, things that actually stay with you sonically.
Well, hey man, that's a hard one to start off. All right, so look, basically, I come from a metal background, right? I grew up listening to like Pantera, Megadeth, Metallica, like every kid who's like 10 years old. That's like the first band you listen to, I suppose. Uh, then I got into jazz fusion, like Alan Holdsworth and stuff like that. Uh, and then by then I must be like 15, 16. Dubstep starts happening. I was born in 1990. So in 2005, 2006, dubstep started appearing. I'm just saying all that so you guys get the gist of like where I'm going with that.
I'm an
And
89er, so I get you.
yeah, so So after that, yeah, dubstep. So I had a like short dubstep career that lasted for 5 years or so. I had like multiple releases on vinyl and stuff, and I played clubs and I had my fun. I lived my 20s and all that. And then I stumbled upon Nine Inch Nails, like really super late actually. I was like 25, 26, and then from then on, that was just like the hemoglobin guy in Incision. You just want the fucking needles in your arm, and you want some more Nine Inch Nails and more Nine Inch Nails. So I start biting a Trent Reznor sound, and that's it. But as far as the album goes, because of what I just told you, um, they always change. But stuff like Martyr, which is a band from Canada, which is a technical death metal, like avant-garde jazz fusion with technical metal stuff. So Warp Zone from Martyr would be one of those. I could write it in the chat because maybe the pronunciation is just a bit busted. I'm French, by the way, so give me a second. All right.
Like that's why I didn't want to pronounce your name and mispronounce it, So I was like, oh
Nah,
boy,
no
he's
worries.
French. He's gonna get on my ass about it.
No, no, I
No, no,
don't
I
mind
don't
it.
mind
It's
it.
fair. My name in French is Frédéric Chicoine, but everybody say Frederick. And as for the second name, I don't know, man. You say what you want. Frederick Duder, I don't mind. It's fine. But it's Chicoine. So that's my
Chiquan.
name. Yeah, Chicoine. Frédéric Chicoine. Or Fred. Or just dude. It's fine. I have no problem.
I got you, man.
So yeah. So Marseille Warp Zone definitely is top three. I will have to go with Peace Cells from Megadeth, top three album. And then there's a Nine Inch Nail in there, but it always changes because as you grow old, at first I really like the Downward Spiral, but I'm not hangry anymore. I'm a peaceful dude by now. I'm almost married. My life is going well. I love my parents because I'm old, so I'm not pissed at the world. So I would have to say it vacillate between the Fragile and Add Violence EP. Both of these sound palette wise, they're just like the best damn thing ever, sound wise. Yeah.
Dude, let me tell you, it's somewhat damaged. As soon as that track comes on, oof. And there's a Rocket Arena 3 map for Quake 3 called Somewhat Damaged.
Yeah.
And I used
Oh yeah, yeah. I think I know it. Is it the big face? You go down the both pathways. There's like a body armor there with a face. If I don't, man, that was like 20 years ago. Maybe
super.
my memory is
It's
busting
a
out.
super small map, but yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I used to crank that track while playing it, and yeah, it's great how the industrial and dance. At that point, it was more dance and arena shooters like Quake 3, Rocket Arena,
Unreal.
and
Yeah.
Unreal Tournament kind of
Oh
popping
yeah,
off,
a
right?
bunch of Unreal. Actually, I haven't said that to Smooth Brain, but I need to tell him that I think you rip off. You know that the gun, the not the glue gun. Was it the bio gun in Unreal Tournament that you just shoot and it goes like this? Kitty.
The
It's a bit like
the
that
goo
too.
gun. Oh yeah,
Huh?
Kitty. The
Yeah,
goo gun. Yeah.
I don't know.
I
It's
loved
funny.
I loved the goo gun. I in UT3, man, I could track anybody with that thing. Love it.
Nice.
Kitty's great in Incision. So I guess we'll take that sort of that Nine Inch Nails talk there, then move into this next territory because the first thing that people have related your work on Incision to is Trent Reznor's work in Quake 1.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's high. That's super high praise, and
yeah. Could be better actually. I'm floored by all that, to be honest with you.
right on. And it's
Yeah.
like so, you know, at, I guess how did you get this gig? And when you were kind of looking at the assets and you know thinking like, did you know from the start that it was going to feel kind of like this kind of like Quake 1 meets your other inspirations and your own touch, or was it something that came to you as you saw the geometry, the levels, and the awesome art design and whatnot? Were you in it from the start? Did you come in later? Fill everybody in on that.
Man. Look, no lie, I knew from the start what I wanted to do with this game, like music wise. Be, what happened is that I played the demo on iYatch, I think it's called. I don't know if people in the chat can remember that. Before it was on Steam, it was like on a distribution site for demos. And I was just going through the FPS horror. I always wanted to score music, and I just never took the chance to be like, oh, I'll just hit up this studio and ask them and just send them my song because I never had a portfolio per se, right? So what happened is that I played a demo, the aesthetic was already what it was now, bloody red meat and just still growing from skin and stuff like that. So everything was already in place, and the music was already good because if I remember, his brother was writing the soundtrack, and it was more akin to what people are used to in boomer shooters with metal and just genty stuff. And looking at the aesthetic, I was like, man, this could be something else, reminding me of Quake 1, of course. And I just hit up the guy because he had his email, Sammy. And I said, hey, look, man, I think Sammy finished with 1990, which was the year he was born, just like me. So I kind of connected him through that. And
There was a
I sent him a
sign, right?
message. Sorry?
There you go. That was a sign right there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's oh man, I like Quake 2. I'm not a fan of Quake 2 per se. I don't think it plays well nowadays. But Quake 1 will always be. It's still installed on my PC, and I play it like at least once a week. And with all the updates now, anyway, I'm going left and right here. So I told Sammy, I was like, hey man, I'd like to write the score for your game if you want to. And at first, the gig was I was supposed to take part of all the ambient soundtrack, right? No fight team, no nothing. But as the game grew and Sammy uh, he was working all the time. He's always working on this fucking game, to be honest with you, and so am I. So, and it became this big thing, and I think his brother didn't have enough time to play and to write the music for this game, right? So I sort of took over, and it kind of worked for me because I wanted to show like the other side of look, I can write some cool teams, but I can also wreck your face with these crazy sounds without having too much guitar in it because that was my main point was I don't want to be a Mick Gordon or Andrew Ocho. I love these guys, but I don't want to be that. First off, it's not who I am. So I want to be more on the experimental side of things, and just unleash different, like it was back in the day, when you play a Command and Conquer, even Total Annihilation, man, I had a crazy soundtrack and games like that. So
TA is
so
great. Thank you for bringing that
yeah,
up.
yeah, nobody plays that game, man. It's crazy, but the skirmish was so great. Those fights could go on and on. You could have games for like 5 6 hours, and the music was just looping, and you just had fun. And it wasn't metal, it was just sounds, just like StarCraft. StarCraft is a big thing too, like
That's
the
an easily
Protoss.
that's a memorable. It's like E1M1. It's a song everyone knows. Like the Star Trek.
Yeah,
Excuse me, StarCraft. Just as you're building, everyone knows that jam, right? It's just
exactly. You know these sounds, and most of the Incision soundtrack is based off this cliche from back of those days. I even rip off Golden Eyes at a few points. Like same sound, even the same melody. The intro, actually, the second part of the intro, when you think about it, is like in Midgar in Final Fantasy VII. Ta, ta, twa, ta, ta, twa, ta. These are the same notes in the intro, man. Same site so there's a lot of small picture built onto the soundtrack that just reminds you of old days. At least to me, that's what I try to do. I don't know for you guys, but that's the main thing here. Work with cliche from back in the days.
the Midgar FF7 reference there because you know I'm trying to think which tune it is. It might be when you're climbing up in Shinra, but it's got the whole.
Was it the after at the wall market, or really when you're climbing up
Shinra.
Shinra?
It's either Wall Market or as you're climbing, where it has
Oh,
this. If you're familiar with Rainbow, Stargazer, Ronnie James Dio was the lead singer. That's no. All right.
yeah. I know Ronnie, but not particularly that.
Okay,
That
well,
track.
later on I'll toss you the track Stargazer.
Sure.
It has this whole sort of it's pretty much this close enough to the same key as well. It has like the same vibe, and it everything pulls from everything else a little bit, you know, just enough. Um, I
Yeah,
know.
well, you don't
You
rewrite
don't
history.
rewrite
You know,
history.
you steal stuff and make it your own. That's basically what we're doing all the time. You can't really
Can't
write
really
something.
write something fresh.
It comes from somewhere. Just like the boomer shooter, it's exactly a good idea because what do we used to play 20 years ago when we were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old? We used to play boomer shooter, and now we grew up, and we're 30, 35, 40. People want to make that sort of game because that's what they liked and they're accustomed to when they were younger. Same as when they say your musical taste doesn't advance, that it's stuck around like when you're 17 years old, right? And then after 17, you're only gonna listen to the album that you listened prior to being 17. And I think there's a pattern there. Just not there's a wheel, of stuff. I think it's interesting.
I mean, that's fascinating because outside of same artists, if they have a new LP that's actually good, I end up jamming to it and listening to it. But yeah,
Yeah.
you're right on that. I'm stuck on the same same stuff I've been for the majority of my life. For better or for worse. I naturally turn on to other things, but it's not the desert island pick. It's not
Oh no, we
the
all
feel
do, but
good.
we come back home. We come back home sometimes, and it's okay.
Right on. So, uh, talking about coming back home now. For me, you were talking about the fragile. That I have a huge right. Like it's just such a great album, and
Oh yeah.
to me, track 15 for Map 6, The Caverns, Tremors. That track
Yeah.
I felt like had this kind of like fragile to like maybe year zero kind of vibe to it.
Mm,
I love that one. That may be
yeah.
tied for my favorite off the first episode's music thus far, and I guess like take that track as an example, and what were you thinking? What were you going for? What were some of the plug-in sounds and synths that you used, and how long per track? You know, did it take you? You
Okay.
think
Yeah.
was this the
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you
largest
mean.
production?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, um, as far as synths, I bought lots of synths for this album. I bought a Moog DFAM for percussion because I knew I didn't want normal drums. Of course, I use Superior Drummer on it, and you can probably hear it when there's a few metal part with bass beats, and it's all Superior Drummer. But I run through a lot of decapitator and trash plugins and custom distortion. I have an old bus rack, a GX 700. I run a shit ton of stuff through that because it sounds a lot like the Broken Era from Nine Inch Nails, like distortion wise. So I like that a lot, of course. But yeah, and yeah, I have a Resident Garden as well because Trent Reznor bought one. So when I saw him doing the Gone Girl soundtrack, and he was just like tapping on the well, actually, it's right there. In a second, I'll just unplug it. Like this thing. It's super weird, man. Just you have a bunch of knobs and a tactile DSP on there where you can just add effects and filter. And these are actually guitar strings that you scrape, and then you can tap on it and you can loop stuff with it. And it does a bunch of crazy sound that you hear mostly in uh,
That's great.
the the Metropolis city. Use that a lot when you go in the tunnel. All these stuff like just I call that ear candy. It's all from
Oh,
that
is there
stuff. So I use percussion.
like that? That's a great piece to have as you're working on this because it has you're able to have that tactile sensation. Yeah, the patch cables you can daisy chain it, and Yeah, working with that's great. So you got the drums. I'm sorry to chime in there. Continue.
Oh, it's all right. We're talking. That's what we're here for. But yeah, the DFAM, I have a Korg mini log that I use a lot for, well, again, the Metropolis CD use this a lot. But apart a Neutron and some old school like Super Base Station rack, a GV1080. It's not, it's just tools. And yeah, I use that. And of course, plugins like everyone, like the UHE suite, the Arturia suite. And most of my sound design come from just granulizing stuff. I sample myself and I granulize it and I put that shit ton of the effect of it on it. Uh, I just want to make sound that doesn't sound like the what I started with. It's like the Feral Armament bus team. Like there's plenty of guitar on there, but pretty sure you're gonna have a hard time trying to find out where's the guitar because it's just like the sound is it's mangled to an extreme point with LFOs and stuff that it sounds like a synth patch at the end. And that's what I like to do. Maybe I'm complicating myself when I'm doing stuff like that, but all good sound comes from experimentation. That's what I think. I don't
I
like
don't
to
like
use
to
like
use like custom.
you just like, oh, here's a square wave and a filter, and you just go whop and add a distortion on it, and you it's not my type. I like to work sound a lot until I'm dead.
Yeah, no, yeah, you have to make it your own naturally. Like
Yeah.
a neat thing I used to do was just you know I have a Roland Vitor drum kit. That's what I drum through. I use Superior Drummer as well, right? And I would just like add like a white noise to each kick or something like that. So just
Yeah.
like white noise,
Yeah.
static, something like that. Just get some ambience going and get some mood going, and then build from that. And yeah, man, just like the smallest things that can help like an input or while editing when you figure something out and you're like, oh, if I start doing this in these you know, in a different sort of timing above it. Maybe it's like an
Yeah.
odd time signature or something that it ends up just being ear candy that has a rhythm. Like you feel it a
Exactly.
lot
Yeah.
throughout this album, and it's a journey, and the game's a journey. So
Yeah.
episode one thus far, I was fortunate enough to have 3 days in advance playing it. They dropped
Mhm.
the boss a day prior to launch, so
Yeah.
did that, and I got to hear that music as well.
Yeah. That song, because I made it like the boss dropped, and I did the song. I think I sent it to Smooth Brain at like midnight Montreal, but like America time, and he live in Finland, right? So
Okay.
I went to bed. He woke up. He pushed the update button, and then you guys had it because I had to. I had to write the song for that. We had a fuck up with the schedule, so I was working my career job, and when I came on at like 6 or 7 p.m., I sit on the computer just to finish the soundtrack, like super crunch time, but it was worth it. And that bus comes from an old session that I play with the GX 700 and just like some custom YouTube samples of drums. Yeah, I sample a lot from places. I also have this hip hop background to me, like old school hip hop. So I just try to grab from everything and make it my own. Battle for Spice, dude. Doom 2000.
There you go. Right on.
Mhm.
Um, hmm. Hey, Osmium, how's it going? Welcome, buddy. So let's let me pull to another track here.
Sure thing.
Okay, so I have a note that I need to talk about the rust on my fingers because this was the video track that you released with it, and it has a and it has a different audio quality to it. It
Yeah.
it it's almost like an odd punctuation, or it has sort of an eerie effect, but it's grating in a good way. Like when I reached the grafted throne, right? When I got to that part of the
Yeah.
game, right? And that starts playing, it's it fits. It's it's interesting. It's simplistic compared to other things you're doing, but there's so much room and space going on to allow some bouncing and reflections. So take me through that.
The actual recording about you're talking about the acoustic track or the when there's the doomed like story going on with the piano.
So the acoustic guitar track first,
Okay,
then
okay.
to the piano track, which
Perfect.
is
So
also atmospheric and fantastic.
yeah. Well, the rust on my finger was just an idea that I came up with because I wanted to make the actual incision themes longer, something more akin to like Doomtree themes, where it starts super heavy and then it goes, but just like the Ranger theme as well from Quake, when Trent just start going in fucking reverb drench and you just have these your spat going on. So I wanted to do something like that with guitar, but it didn't happen. So what I did was I wrote this cute interlude bass. It's actually the same chords as the main title. It's just played in a jazzy way with some cute melody because I wanted really to have the player unstressed because I think the whole playthrough when you go to Incision and in a single setting, it is quite an anxious experience. It's a hard game. First off, you're always stressed because you don't want to die because there's no save system, and the music is just there to punch you in the guts because it's anxious, just like Quake was. There's some tunes in Quake that you can't hear because it's just crazy sound and weird stuff that you never hear elsewhere. So at the end of the episode, I just wanted something to calm down the player. And I figured that it could be funny and super contrasting to have like, hey, everything is good now. But then it switched back to the main theme with there's a bass drop and you have these the team from the beginning start playing with but still acoustic guitar. And I had two guitars on this one. The way I recorded that stuff is I had a Rode NT1 going into an 1173 preamp, and I had the DI going into the other the DI. So that was for the stereo track because it's only one guitar for the chords, and then there's just like some harmonics being played in the background, and the melody, which is the same tracking. So you have one mic and you have one DI. And when the time comes for the team to come back, I took another guitar which is open tuning, and I think it was tuned to A. So I have a Fender with I think the string gauge is like 5210, and I just.
I think I'm playing that on screen right now, that exact moment.
Yeah, you go ahead. I can't hear it, but it's fine. So the it is just like super open chords, that I'm just bow 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 harmonics down down bow bow with everything in the background going and the little melody. So so this track took me like an hour to figure out to record, mix, and master. It's not complicated, it's just like six tracks going on together with overdubs and that's about it for that. That's the story of the rust on my fingers.
Good, it's a good story. 7047 there says a somber and lightly unsettling note on the last track. Yeah,
Yeah.
it does have that unsettling tone. It's eerie. Um, what do you think is the song that you are either most proud of or that you most like to listen to yourself from it? Like what's the one that you're
uh,
jamming to?
I have yeah, dude. To be honest, I think it's sparsely deteriorating. Like that 9 minute. For me, this is like a 9 minute epic track. It starts with great sound design. It's the mini log just with the resonance filter going in distortion in the background, and then it builds up. You got a uprising and the bass drop with the I like that story because I come from dubstep and Everybody likes fucking whoops, you know, whoop whoop. So
You gotta
I
have
like
the
that.
whoops, the wobble
Oh
wobbles.
yeah, man. And then after that, I think there's like some guitar in the background doing some very atonal stuff. You know, it's not in key, but it works, which is something I learned from a band. I don't know if you know Gorguts. It's a metal band from Quebec.
Yeah, I mean, that's going, the uh, black metal route, right?
Yeah, well,
Or
it's more like
more progressive death.
yeah, well, it's a, like avant-garde, just noisy stuff. But I'll show it to you after, and
Was
you'll
it
know what I mean.
Gorgoroth
It's
or
just
no?
no Gorguts,
Oh,
G-O-R
my
type.
bad. I thought you said Gorgoroth. All right.
Gorguts. So Gorguts, the album Obscura, if you want to check this out, and yeah, it's really atonal notes all the time, and nothing makes sense, but it makes sense, right? And then it drops down, and then there's like that. This is in that song that I just rip off Damn from GoldenEye, with the twan da twan da da twan. Just like in GoldenEye, you know, bam, that. What? Anyway, so this,
Yeah.
yeah, so this happens, and then just like everything builds up. It's going crazy. You get the guitar shredding, and then the super fucking groove, just like Pantera would do, which is super nice. And then it drops back to like Fragile era, with just like a bum 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 bum, just a bass, like a super stabby bass and like good drum and just guitar particle on top of it. And I don't know, it's like everything that I like in music and every genre mashed together to my liking. So I really like this track, Sparsely Deteriorating. And that level, the Field Pit, I think is a level that everybody likes a lot. It's so like with the corridor, the lava tunnel, and everything. Just it works perfectly for
The lava tunnel's great.
Yeah. So I like that track a lot. But the Caverns Tremors is also my favorite, to be honest with you.
Great taste, then. Yeah. I've been playing the Sparsely Deteriorating, and yeah. I mean, I picked it up, as I stated earlier. I mean, you hear it a lot, as you said in this song, that sort of like it's either, I don't know if it's an electric piano sound, it could be a toy piano, but that's that very fragile, as it's going along. It could be a vibraphone, it's some sort of,
you don't know what it is.
Formulate,
that's the thing. Yeah,
that's the
like,
beauty, though. You don't know.
Yeah, that's what I like. No, I don't want you to know what it is. I don't even know myself what it is. So there's no tricks behind the camera, man. It's all. It happens and it's gone.
Yeah, there's a real beauty to being able to create those sounds that you're saying, that you're shaping, just like back in the day with just OG synths with patch cables, and you're using pen and paper to remember which setting for where, which cable goes where, when you have to tear down or whatever, and to be able to recreate it. Have you set up all your presets to be able to, either continue forth on these tracks or perform them live or anything like that?
Oh, no, not at all. I'm really not a live person. Like I do a live show for a living, right? I'm a video director, so I cut camera. I tell the cameraman, hey, take this shot, zoom in there. All right, do stand by, take 3, stuff like that. So when I'm home, I don't enjoy going and watching shows because I'm really critical and being perfectionist in my craft. I really just like to make studio music. I try to make it live, and aside from DJing, not really my type of vibe. I'm so into sounds and the quality and the texture and stuff like that, which live would just sound like a garbled mess. I don't know how 9 Inch Nails can do it, but they're more probably popish or whatever. But yeah, but I could probably make one. Like if I force myself to, I could say, all right, let's make that. But there's so much plugin and sound reconstruction going on, and I don't know, man. It would be kind of hard to do. Like I couldn't do like what Mike did for Doom 2016, right? Just going on stage and jamming. Because my music is not but like guitar based at first. You know? It's all patch based and or in texture wise based. So it's weird.
Dude,
Like,
forming the texture for like texture based music. I mean, yeah, they used to be considered just avant garde, and now it's it's more accepted to be in genres as like an art rock or art pop thing, you know. Um, at least in maybe more the more modern electric and rock scenes. I mean, um, you know, there was always outliers, and you know, that got bigger. But generally speaking, and I think that's a positive, and we see a lot of it in, as you said, these boomer shooters. It's either metal or you know something that's way out and just more experimental. Um, it's like a beautiful renaissance in gaming at the indie level, where
yes, it is, man.
you get these
It
things
is.
going on with these mind blowing games and soundtracks. It's a beautiful time to live, and it's a beautiful
Yeah.
time to be working.
It
So
reminds me of the Doom era a bit, you know. Not that big, but it. I get a feeling that it might have been like this 30 years ago, you know. Like, look, man, we're doing cool shit and we're just having fun with ourselves. Nobody's trying to be better than anyone. We're just like doing stuff that we find is cool and giving it to people. There's no
and
marketing behind that, you know.
right
The
on.
WAD era, yeah, the WAD era, exactly.
There you go. Like I used to love playing like The Simpsons, Doom 2, and all that. You know, Wads, man. Chex Quest. So okay, you know this. This may be a bit, you know, premature to ask, but I assume you have plans to either begin or you've already perhaps begun. But episode two, what is the roadmap in regards to scoring episode two?
I think it's going to be way more minimal than this one was. I want to do more. I, I had look. All right, let me answer it this way. I had fight team in this game because I feel that you need to have fight teams, you know, with big chunky guitars and drum just going tack 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 tack. But it's not really one I want to make. I love them tracks of like Quad Tetanus and Bastic Meat Splatter. I love them and it's fine. But I wish I could do something more akin to what they did in Doom 3, you know? I don't know if you remember in Alpha Lab Sector 2 in Doom 3, there's like a big ass red corridor with just blinking lights. And then you go in there and there's just like cling, cling. And then you take the chain gun, or I think it's a machine gun, and then you just have the super like intense bassy sound going for like 30
Right
seconds.
on.
It's like the kind of stuff that I wish I could be making, but I'm always going overboard and let me add this, let me add that. I like to do a lot of call and response in my shit. I could have like
That's
10
yeah.
cents and none of them are playing a melody because they all fitting together just like like that, you know. So one is doing whoop, the other is going, and it's just squelch that together makes a melody, but there's no melody. So I
Yeah.
want to write more melody for episode two. I want some
Okay.
hooks.
So now I often, at least you know personally, I often get caught up in sort of like an insane pattern of it's some call and response, things like that, where each instrument's doing, or each sound instrument is doing something different in the same key, but just like they're all kind of like at war with each other to show off. You know what I mean? So you know,
Yeah,
sometimes that
exactly.
happens to me, and when you have to sit down and actually be like, all right, I need to be melodic. I need to go back to the, you know, I need to listen to some Beach Boys and some the Beatles a little bit, and then you know what I mean, like just that bass like kind of songwriting, and then apply it to a different genre or whatever approach that you would take. Um, do you think that that would be a an endeavor that would take less time to work on, or more time due to the I don't know if it's if it's more out of your comfort zone, or if you're fine either way, developing and producing music that way.
No, because I actually have a very pop records that I never put out called Turbo Fantasy, and
Oh, sick! All right.
it sounds like Fantasy Star Online. So think about these palettes
Oh, that's rad,
and
dude.
with pop music, you know. So and maybe I might just upload it on Spotify before the end of the year. I must do it because it's really different. But like now I'm trying to cater to a crowd, you know, and try to sort of make the Incision is like my portfolio for game music writing, you know. So to answer the first question,
Yeah, dude.
do I have project on in front of me? Not right now, because it was quite taxing to. Dude, the game is like 2 hours and there's like 1 hour and 15 minutes worth of music. How fucking overboard I went with that project. But
Yeah,
I want to calm
that's
down a
a
bit, you know?
that's a really fair point when you think. But you get so much out of the soundtrack. The game's fantastic, but the soundtrack's incredible. I mean, that's really my highlight. And you get like equal amount of gameplay time as you do to music. That's good on you for that, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very proud of this, but like episode 2, I'm probably gonna dumb it down by half, or not dumb it down because it's a passion project, you know. So I don't want to half-ass it, but I just want to make it, yeah, maybe more with texture, maybe more like Quake 1 actually. Quake 1 is just crazy when you play it. There's no music in there, you know. Aside from like a parallel dimensions, which I totally rip off on the Factory. It's actually the same track. It's just different bass. But yeah, so episode 2 should be like that. More texture, but to answer, would there be more melody? Perhaps, but I don't want to force myself because writing melody for such a game can become cheesy quite fast, I think.
Right on.
I think.
That's a great
I think.
response. And so, do you remember prior to Doom 3 when Trent Reznor was still going to be working on it, and his mindset and idea was to basically mesh all of the sounds and music so that it is randomly generated based on, let's say, your footsteps, the environment you're in, and all that. And it could, basically, they told him it couldn't be done at that time. But then,
Yeah.
later on, Red Dead Redemption came out, and everything was done in the key of, I think it was F sharp major, something like that, where they were able to.
I didn't even know about that. I need to check.
Do you have a video for this? That's a sort of
rabbit hole I like to fall into.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sure there's like, oh yeah, like there's video essays on both these things. I love it. And so the first game to sort of take that concept was RDR, and it was that, I think, of the F sharp, and all the tempos fit together, where it was either the same tempo or it was a chord, even if it was triplets on top, um
Wow.
so as you change the areas, it would just start layering on sound, or music as sound, and that was Trent's idea for Doom 3, and it didn't work out at the time. But I guess if they kept it all in one key, it would have worked. But he was probably, the notes and the sounds he was making was probably a little bit too out there to remain in one key at that time. But yeah, it's pretty neat.
The weapons were they were punchier, if I remember. I played that late demo, I think, on the GeForce 3, man. On an old beat up fucking 800 megahertz. Those were the days, dude. But I didn't know about that. It's crazy, but I don't think we could do it with Incision. We have a pretty janky system for music implementation. We don't use Fmod, so we just work with triggers. So say, right, like the fill pit is a perfect example of that. When you start playing the level, there's like 6 songs playing at once, and it just crossfades into other parts. That's the easiest way we found. And at first, we were limited because we had to have the same bar. So say I have a 16 bar section. Well, just underneath it, I had to have the same 16 bar section for later in the game. But we figure out a way to have, okay, so this can be 16 bars, this can be 48, this can be 8, as long as it just loops. So we found out a way with Unity to just make it loops. He basically wrote his own script and music engine, and so that's why sometimes the cuts are harsh. But we live with that when we don't care because first it's a one-man band, it's a one guy doing everything, and I don't think we expect that amount of polish for one developer. So yeah, so that's the jankiness of it. So to do something like Doom 3 would be pretty crazy, but you know what? I guess I could be down to do that because, as we mentioned prior, working with textures and all that, it would be quite easy to just randomly generate texture, having actual plugin. Yeah, so that would
wow.
work.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
the landscape's changed where that's, I guess, yeah, that's far more, that's a line of code. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
wow. And, so that's got me thinking. I was just, so,
We're
okay, so,
getting deep, people.
yeah, I'm thinking about like, what I'm going to be doing next musically. I'm like, I could, just as you were, but like, okay, so currently, what's playing there? Because I love this little part in Meat Paint.
that?
Oh, it's about
Meat. Oh, dude, that was
yeah.
You know what this is?
the bass drum parts going through, or just the
This is the first time I plugged my Moog DFAM. That's what you're hearing right now.
I just like had.
I use Reaper, so I had just Reaper going on, and I was just patching the Moog and just playing with it. That's all it is. Same for the track right before. Was it? So Calm Yet. Dum 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 dum. It's a 5-minute improvisation from the Moog DFAM. All right, that it's raw. I never like edit, and I did not do edit on it, and I just built a song on top of it. Like all the crazy fucking drums pattern, it's all from the same improv. So I didn't loop anything. Just right.
Right
so it's
on.
super experimental,
Yeah.
super experimental stuff.
I hear the run going right now. So I switched to that as you were saying, and dun 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 dun, and then you just got just in the background, just those little drum runs.
Yeah. So it's like another. It's 3 track of DFAM on top of each other, just like 3 improv. I was patching something. All right, let's do a bass line. Did a bass line. Let's do some harsh noise. Did some harsh noise. Let's do some beat pattern thing. And I put. Sorry, I apologize. Sorry about that. And I just like top everything on top of each other, and after that wrote some synth part and some weird sound, and just to have the player bad trip like on acid or something. I don't know.
Sega Nomad says it sounds insane. It does, like the good kind of insane.
Yeah.
So, did you name? Okay, so Hole in the Sky. Naturally, that's a Black Sabbath album opener. Was that the name of the map prior? So you just went with the name of the song, or was that
the name of the map prior was House Arrest? That's what Smooth Brain called it. And then the first thing you see when you go outside, apart from like the 5-6 enemies playing around shooting Plaxmol shit at you, is like the big hole in the sky. So I just told it, hey, why don't we just call it the hole in the sky? And it makes sense, You don't know what it is.
I'm glad he listened to you on that one. That's wise, because I love that name. I was like, that's a great E1M1 name, and it's a great E1M1 song.
Yeah. That's the only thing I did like on the creation side of it. Well, there's a few things here and there, but we since he's working alone, man. I mean, I'm sort of an ADHD person. I always think about crazy shit, so I just send it to him, and if he decides to take it, then so be it. And that's one of them. The hole in the sky.
Heck yeah, dude. So I guess let me open this up to yourself, and if chat has any questions, but if there's anything you want to touch up on, because this is your launch off. This is in my opinion, and I know that you already basically stated the same thing the degree that my understanding, this is your portfolio at the moment. This is your big release in this game and as an album, and you know, I'm happy for you because it came out so good. I'm genuinely a fan here, and
Nice, man. Thank you so much. To be honest,
Hey,
it's crazy.
you know.
These last 3 days have been super crazy, dude. Like super crazy. Like I talked with Andrew Holshitz like 2 days ago. I was like, what the fuck?
I just
It
started
happened so
piled on.
fast. We
So it
didn't
starts
talk much.
coming
We didn't
down.
say anything because we actually Hyper Strange linked me to him because I wanted to release the soundtrack without having copyrights for you guys, so you can play the game and not be flagged as, oh man, you're playing this music, you know. So we do not want that. It will hurt sales. It will hurt marketing wise. People wouldn't buy Hyper Strange game, you know. We just want
That's
everybody
great.
to be on top of it and part of this these things that they are creating, because they're basically having a lot of good games on their hand, you know, Hyper Strange and stuff. So he just linked me to Andrew so we could talk about how should I release it, and then it turns out we were saying the same thing. So we didn't chat much more than that. But yeah, I'm yet to talk with him and have fun, you know. That would be nice. I mean, look, if I can make music for games, that always been a dream, right? That and scoring movie, actually just doing what Trent Reznor did, like Gone Girl, favorite soundtrack of all time. That would be top 5 album, man. If you ask me for top 3 out here, top 4 would be Gone Girl. Probably more so than the other one. I listen to Gone Girl all the time. My vinyl is almost scratched because of that.
Dude,
So,
I mean, scoring a game of the, you know, that seems to be the step prior to film scoring. So you may be onto something there. But I mean, that's, oof. I mean, I don't, you know, I know some people prefer game over film and vice versa, you know what I'm saying? But there's just a different, I shouldn't say that because I'm such a big gamer. I shouldn't say they're different on levels, but it's definitely a different approach, because one is it's more for the atmosphere and the interaction of the player to engage in, while the other is for the viewer to absorb. You know, they're absorbing those sound waves in full concentration without movement.
But you know that's how I thought. That was my thought process for this for how to arrange the game. You know, that I didn't want to just have music. Oh man, guns blasting, drums banging, guitars chugging. What's next, dude? Blood? So we wanted to have that. I wanted to have that for the game, because I went on Twitch the day of the release and the day after, and actually this morning. So every day I do my round on Twitch. I type in Incision and I go to people playing live, and I just ask them genuinely how they feel, what's their take on it. And people sometimes, even when I'm just watching and I'm not typing to them, I'm not saying who I am or what I did, because I'm no one, but what I did, and they just genuinely stop to when the music changed, and they're just fucking headbanging and enjoying, you know. And this is what I want, because it's rare in games that you have this feeling. It's super rare. I had it on probably The Last of Us, when, you know, the guitar at the end at the scene, but you can't even stop because it's cutscene over cutscenes, you know. So it doesn't work. But rares are the game where you can just like sit down and be like, I'm gonna press escape here and just listen to that track for a moment, right?
Yeah, I mean, what I did during my welcome to the Dojo of Wind there, Mythical. Thank you for the follow. Now you can use the special emote for today, so slam that and show support for our man here. So Frederick, basically, like, you know, I would no clip for the press copies. They gave us a bunch of cheat codes if we wanted to use them. So I would hit no clip and I would go up in the wall. Oh, there, thanks for the spam there. And I would like unclip, so I'd be sitting on a pipe, and I would just let the song play, and I would just kind of look down every once in a while. Every once in a while, fire a rocket at something, you know, and just being like, "All right, I'm digging this."
That was the point
The
of
video clip I made, but the little dude being like, "My life is horse shit," you know, and he's just, there's close up on his face with the cute little guitar in a fucked up world, man, where everything is dead, you know. So I find it quite funny. I like just a juxtaposer of contrast like that. I think it's really fun. But for you to make that, I'm not even surprised, you know. And if people do that too, it's well, good thing, you know. I mean, we we did something great. I suppose it's good. So, quite proud to hear this. This is yeah. Fun.
And this is something that I intended to open with, but were you familiar with the prior projects that Hyperstrange had published? Because I've been covering their stuff since pretty much the opening, and they've been on a roll with just quality, games, quality, a really great rhythm-based aim shooter, Raze, that I got addicted to with the leaderboards, and I was sniping out some people like Shroud from the getting them below me and stuff. So were you familiar with them and their work?
I was familiar with their name, the work, not quite because yeah, I'm sort of a workaholic. So I don't really have much time to play. But now I have. Yeah, no, don't worry. And I haven't, but now I checked a bit, and now I saw that they just released a Postal. I played that. It's quite funny. I love it.
That Postal's great. The one brain damage with the Quake one movement.
Blood West, man. I tried Blood West, Tolik, but not my type. You know, I'm a no-brainer guy. I'm a no.
Yeah,
I work so hard when I come home, I don't want to
I
do
got
like
shit.
that shit.
Need to think about this and that. So just give me a mouse and a keyboard. I just want to shoot people.
yeah. Blood West is more like the a successor to a game like Thief or Thief 2.
Yeah, exactly. Which never were a game that I went into, Hitman and stuff like that. But funny enough, like big Tomb Raider fan, like I actually started Tomb Runner back in 2005. I used to do speedrun before, man. I think I still have the record for Prey. Not sure. I will need to check on the speed demo archives. But yeah, back in the days, I used to play Tomb Raider a lot, and it's always been my favorite game, you know. So
Nice. All right.
yeah,
I love speedrunning. My middle brother is big into Super Nintendo and N64 speedrunning. I'm more PC based and stuff. I've been doing some Diablo 1 runs not that long ago. Second place, I got.
Rough.
I was pretty
That's a
happy
rough
with that.
game. This
It
game
is. It's a
rough,
good one
brother.
though.
Woo!
Got those are the best ones to speedrun. The rough ones.
Yeah. Just go down and down and down and die. You go down and die.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Nice.
Do you have? So you mentioned you have Quake installed. So
Yeah.
on a night that you don't want to think, we could always have a community Quake match, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I suck at multiplayer. I'm gonna tell you straight up. I super suck. Like my Counter-Strike days are way. I used to play Counter. Last time I played online, I think it was Counter-Strike 1.5 or 1.6. So I was like 9 years old. I still have Go. I have Go installed, but I don't play these games. They always there just in case that I'm too weed out, and I'm like, let's die a bit, you know.
Yeah, I was big in 1.5, 1.6, skipped Source, and then I got big into Go. But yeah, dude.
Quake Live, Quake
Quake
Live, I do
Live.
have, and yeah. If you want to play something, we can play Quake Live more than Quake Spawn. Yeah.
That is the best thing I think I've ever, Quake Live. We do these we do these nightly duels on DM17 rockets only, just to
Okay.
longest yard. You gotta love it.
Dude, man, how do you
how
say
you
that?
say
You're
that
like
you're
world
like
champion
world
6
champion?
times or something. I think you won like competitions and stuff. You're
Uh,
gonna obliterate
well,
my pile little white ass.
You never know. You never know.
All right, well we can try. All right, man.
man.
I'm gonna
I'm
have
gonna
the
have
cheat
the cheat
codes
code.
on. Trust.
The old Konami ones, right?
The old remember back in the day when we had trainers?
Or yeah, in my elder brother's era, he was the one that was calling the Nintendo tip line.
Oh, jeez.
Jeez.
Wow.
Like $2
Yeah,
a
I
minute.
remember. And then I'm like, yeah, what's this part? Yeah, well, to jump, press A.
I would have worked at one of those places and just been like,
Uh,
oh yeah, kid,
Just
go
trolling
down the
people.
corridor.
Just trolling out people,
Oh, that would be the best, right?
Yeah. And
That's
like,
not
there's
how you
someone
beat
else.
Metal Gear.
there's someone else after Mike Tyson. You know that? If you beat Mike Tyson in one round, there will be a special opponent in Punch Out.
Exactly. You know, it's like the at least when I was growing up, this was spreading around the old rumor with the N64 Mario that if you got so many stars, you'd be able to shoot through the glass thing, and you know what I'm talking about?
I think I remember that. Yeah. Or
Yeah.
the Tomb Raider nude code, stuff like that. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
People were
Wonder
wild. I always think to myself, like, what would have happened if, like, Incision got released in, like, 1998 or something? That would have been crazy, dude. Because I remember when Blood 2 came out, and of course, we all know Blood 2 sucks. It's not a good game, but it was so violent and so bloody. Just like a better example than that, dude. Same year, Soldier of Fortune. Remember that?
Oh,
How
dude, me and my buddies we were playing the
yeah,
demo of it over and over again.
What a great game this is,
Subway.
man. It's so great. Hops! What? Just fucking rip arms. That was great. Like, imagine this Incision got released prior to those days. People would be crazy. It's like to think sometimes, you know, stuff
That's a
like
good point. I mean, nah, like if that was put the same release month as Daikatana, you guys would have crushed Romero. You would
You'd
have
be like, who's
Romero's bitch.
who's the bitch now? Nah, I don't think it would have been like that, but yeah. That's the stuff. Daikatana, jeez.
I mean, oof. If they were released at the same time, you guys would have gotten, the gold, editor's choice as they were ripping apart Daikatana, you know.
Yeah.
Your AI works.
We'll see where this goes, because so far, I've watched the Steam review, and it's been epically super good, which is a good thing. Apart from, like, people blasting the save system, which, you can't please anyone, I suppose.
That is
I
like the
that.
only complaint. That's the only complaint I've seen is
Yeah,
people
like,
saying
yeah.
they want a save system.
Yeah, and maybe easy is too hard. Well, okay, I'm sorry, but this is like the Dark Soul of first-person shooters. So
Yeah,
I don't
don't
know.
hurt me,
This is
daddy.
Yeah, it's with the milk. We'll see. I mean, I'm super hopeful for episode 2. I really can't wait to get on that. I already have some, like, small demos of just, like, crazy sound that I wanna put on. Like big super bass drop that just reverberate. Just stuff like that. It doesn't even have to be musical. It's just vibes and mood all the time. I want vibes and mood on my bread. That's what I want.
Yeah, like really thinking about Quake 1 as an example. When you hear the zombies, huh? And then you hear the sound of the pineapple, dink, 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 and just the washing, choral ambient, soundscape that's going on. The distance, a mob walking. It's all rhythmic, it's all musical, it's all atmospheric, and it's beautiful. So I'm happy that, that's the route that you took, and that's the route that you're going to continue to take, and sort of explore that further. And celebrate good times, man. This is an awesome launch. You kicked ass.
Thank you, dude. Thank you
And-
so much.
And heck yeah. So one thing I was thinking of doing is, after the interview here, is just with your permission, just leaving the album on a loop as a like listening party, and let people just listen and
Yeah. No worries. Like I told you, you're not gonna get flagged, so it's fine. I did that so people can enjoy it. Oh yeah, sure thing. Well, man, first I'd like to thank you for this opportunity. I had a blast. I had fun. I came in unprepared, but it's fine. I think we had a good chat. I'd like to thank the chat people, everybody who bought the game, and yeah, man, I I just hope that this is something you're gonna listen to, and or at least if you don't listen to it, appreciate it. And if you don't appreciate it, and it's fine too. I don't, not gonna come knocking at your door, dude. So yeah, it's thank you so much, and really thanks. Very grateful for all this. Don't know what to say. I'm just repeating. I'm a broken player by now.
Dude, no,
Thank you. Hey, thank you.
you're a fun broken player though, man. You know.
So, you know
So
what? This remind me of. This remind me
They
of.
call in Dead Space, you know. So, dear Isaac. Oh, Isaac. Oh, shut up, bitch.
that's a great, dude, great game. But yes, exactly. Eventually, you know, that's the disconnect. Is the fact.
Make us all. Yeah. Shut up. Let me shoot thing. All right. But yeah, that's it. So well, enjoy the album. I'm gonna stay with you. I'm gonna listen to it off camera. I'll be in the chat.
Oh, groovy. All right, man. All right, enjoy. So
All right,
everyone,
All right, man.
relax with them, and thanks again, Frederick.
Thank
Fist
you.
bump.
Thank you,
Thank you,
brother.
brother.
See you
See you
soon.
soon.
See you soon, buddy.
Ciao.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. I will highlight the VOD from there to the outro naturally, and we'll have a little listening party here, and just kind of chill, sit back, relax, feel the tunes. Y'all ready? Enjoy. I'll be in the chat as well, and I'll be popping in to talk about certain moments. So for the new followers though, welcome to the Dojo Win the Window Zone. Thank you all for being born. Wind out. Let me get his socials. Post him in the chat. All right, everyone, thank you for tuning in. I'm giving away a key on Twitter as well. Go to the thread in regards to this announcement, retweeted by Frederick, by Hyperstrange. You'll see it right on my Twitter /AUWind. All you gotta do is respond. I'll pick somebody within before midnight. It's 11:24 now, so that's how the Twitter winner will win. So we have our stream winners, and that's that's Hyperstrange for you, an awesome developer and publisher that cares about content creators and the viewers, and gives out fresh keys every release. And kudos to them and super thanks. And I really appreciate the time we got tonight from from the community that came out to view. And I mean, I barely got to ask all the things I wanted to. They didn't even scratch, like for some reason I went in like reverse mode, but I think it came out really well. And I hope you all enjoyed. You guys killed today. So now get in game. Even if you can live, kill, kill, kill. Keep moving, and make sure you follow the Twitter, the Instagram, and if you go to the DistroKid, you can pre it's like pre-ordering on Spotify, so it's like pre-notification for the 30th, where it'll be on all streaming platforms, Spotify, etc. So we'll wait for a vinyl copy. I'm sure we'll get an announcement soon. Have a good one, everybody. Wind out.
All right. All right. Final clip for the entire video coming from a community clip here, and it is provided by Wind, or I think AE Wind was the Twitter handle.
He sent in AE Wind, but I think right here it just says Wind, so Wind, we're just gonna say Wind.
And then I think the description was is he the Batman player, and he's just gonna let Superman beat him up?
No, he's actually the Superman player.
Oh, he's Superman. Okay, so he's the Superman player, and he's just gonna let Batman beat him up. Then eventually he just comes back and apparently two stocks him in like 30 seconds. So this should be a really good clip to go out on.
And you just had to start with all right for this last clip, huh? You just had to start with it.
I had to.
All right. All right. Let's see what he does.
One
now
more.
that I've downloaded all the information, I'm going to beat him within 30 seconds. Watch.
30 seconds.
Okay.
I guarantee I'll beat him within 30 seconds.
Oh, okay.
That's one.
Look at this high health I
Right
have.
back with the frost breath. Flying
Pro tip,
into
use
him.
laser eyes if you're going up.
Yeah.
And you'll
Oh.
stop yourself.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay.
Hold on. So within 30. We got this. We got this. Get it, bro. Get some. That's
oh,
the
he chases him. Batman was in the blast zone, and Superman's like, not dead quite yet. Not until I tell you.
I'm gonna beat him within 30 seconds.
He was just
I mean,
scared.
yeah, what do you do when Superman's flying straight at you?
This is a nice little spike right here.
That was bottom of the Batmobile platform. He lived up to his promise in the title. Hey, I'm gonna get him in 30 seconds. So
all right, but that was the last clip of the day. And if you guys want to follow Wind on Twitter, go ahead and follow him. I'm gonna give him a follow real quick too. Thank you for submitting the clip. But yeah, guys, that was the last clip of the day. I'll just let it rock in the background while we're closing it out here. Again, Slackers, thank you so much for featuring on this community highlights. Like, again, thank thank you. Like I can't thank you enough. I could probably sit here in the last 60 seconds of the intro and thank you the whole time, but I'm sure people don't want to see that.
But no, I was super happy. I know you reached out to me, and I was more than willing to do it. You know, once we got the schedules all kind of synced up. So yeah, thank you for the invite. This was kind of fun. I love just seeing these little clips that everyone submits and comes up with, and what they do in the games. And I would say for the entire video, my favorite